Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by deep forests and tall mountains, there lived a kind woman named Amma. Amma was married to a strong and caring man named Kofi. They had a small, cozy hut filled with laughter and love, but Amma always felt something was missing. They had no children, and Amma's heart ached to hear the sound of little feet running around their home. Every day, Amma watched other mothers in the village play with their children, and her longing for a child of her own grew stronger. She and Kofi tried everything they could think of to have a child, but years passed, and their home remained quiet, without the giggles and cries of a little one. One sunny morning, Amma decided she could no longer bear the sadness in her heart. She kissed Kofi goodbye and set out on a journey to see the village herbalist, an old wise woman known for her knowledge of plants and magic. The villagers whispered that she could fix almost any problem. As Amma walked the dusty path to the herbalist's hut, she rehearsed what she would say. She was nervous but hopeful that the herbalist could help her fulfill her deepest wish, to become a mother. Reaching the old twisted tree that marked the entrance to the herbalist's home, Amma knocked gently on the door, and the herbalist, with her kind eyes and warm smile, welcomed her inside. As they sat down, the herbalist listened carefully to Amma's story. After a moment of thought, the herbalist looked into Amma's hopeful eyes. "To find what you seek, you must visit the mermaids," she said, stirring a pot of bubbling potion. Mermaids are magical creatures who live in a secret lake deep in the forest. They can grant wishes, but they also ask for something in return. Amma's eyes widened with wonder. She had heard stories about mermaids from the old folks in the village, but she never thought they were real. "How do I find these mermaids?" she asked eagerly. The herbalist handed Amma a small, shimmering scale. "This came from a mermaid's tail," she explained. "Take it with you, and it will show you the way to the lake. But be careful. Mermaids are playful and tricky. You must be very clear about what you wish for." Amma held the shimmering scale in her palm. It felt cool and smooth, like a piece of the night sky. She nodded, understanding the seriousness of her journey. "I will be careful and clear," she promised. The next morning, Amma packed a small bag with food and water, kissed Kofi goodbye, and set out on a journey to find the mermaids. She walked through thick forests and climbed over rocky hills, following the pull of the mermaid's tail, which seemed to tug gently in her hand, guiding her. After many hours, the trees began to sing, and Amma heard the sound of water. Her heart leapt with joy. She pushed through the last bushes and finally saw it. A beautiful wooden lake that sparkled under the sunlight, with thousands of diamonds. He happily the place. As Amma approached the water's edge, she could see dark and hard the mermaid's tail. "I am here to see the mermaids," she called out. Shimmered and changed. Their legs transformed into sparkling mermaid tails.
"Mother!" they cried as they felt the pull of the water.
"No!" Amma yelled. Tears streaming down her face as the floodwaters carried her daughters away. helplessly as they turned into mermaids and swam swiftly into the river. Amma ran as fast as she could, following the path of the floodwaters. Her heart was heavy with worry for her daughters. The storm grew wilder around her, with lightning flashing across the sky and thunder rumbling like the beating of a giant drum. As she ran, she could hear the voices of the mermaids, carried by the wind and the waves. They sounded angry. Why didn't they come? One voice echoed. They broke their promise, another replied. Amma finally reached the edge of the lake, the water swirling and frothing under the stormy sky. She stood at the shore, her clothes soaked and her breath heavy. Please, Amma called out into the howling wind. Have mercy on us. The wind seemed to carry her words across the water. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, slowly, the water in front of her began to bubble and move. Two mermaids surfaced, their faces stern. You have broken the pact, one of the mermaids said, her voice echoing over the lake. The consequences have already begun. Please listen to me, Amma pleaded. My daughters were captured and about to be sacrificed. They didn't choose to miss the festival. Please give us a chance to make things right. The mermaids whispered among themselves, then turned back to Amma. Nothing can be done. The covenant has been broken, one said. The covenant was sacred, and breaking it has consequences for all. With a heavy heart, Amma watched as the mermaids disappeared back into the lake. Amma's heart was broken, but she knew she couldn't give up. She needed to find a way to see her daughters again, to bring them back from the mermaid's world. With a sorrowful heart, she turned and ran back towards the herbalist's hut, hoping for a miracle. She knocked on the door, and the herbalist answered, her face filled with worry. I have heard what happened, the herbalist said, but there may be a way to appease the mermaids. We need to ask them if there is anything we can do to bring your daughters back. Amma felt a flicker of hope. What must I do? She asked eagerly. You must go back to the river at midnight, the herbalist instructed. Bring something precious to offer the mermaids. Speak from your heart, and perhaps they will listen. Amma went home and looked for the most precious thing she owned. She decided on an old, beautiful necklace that had belonged to her grandmother. It was her most prized possession. At midnight, Amma stood by the riverbank again. The moon was bright, casting silvery light across the water. She held the necklace tightly and called to the mermaids. Please, dear mermaids, hear my plea. I wish to speak to you about my daughters, Amma said. The water stirred, and the mermaids appeared, their faces curious. We are listening, said one of the mermaids. Amma explained her deep sorrow and showed them the necklace. I offer this, my most precious possession, in exchange for a chance to bring my daughters back. Please have mercy on us. The mermaids whispered among themselves, their voices like the soft flow of the river. Finally, they looked at Amma with serious eyes. We will return your daughters, one mermaid said, but only if you give us something of equal value in exchange. That is the way of our world. Amma's heart sank. What do you need? she asked, her voice trembling. "One of your own must take their place in the mermaid's world," the mermaid answered. Amma gasped. The choice was heartbreaking. She thought of her village, her husband, and her own life. After a long moment, she made her decision. "I will take their place," Amma said bravely. "Let my daughters return home. Let them return to their lives, free from obligations to you and the festival. I beg you." The mermaids whispered among themselves, the water around them swirling with their movements. Finally, they nodded. "Very well, Amma. Your sacrifice is accepted. You will join us, and your daughters will be free." Amma took a deep breath, her heart aching but also relieved. "Thank you," she whispered. "Can I see them one last time?" "Very well," the leading mermaid agreed. Moments later, Kunto and Mansa appeared, swimming towards the shore. Tears streamed down their faces as they realized what their mother had done. "Mother, no!" Kunto cried. "You can't!" Mansa sobbed. Amma hugged them tightly. "My dears, it's the only way. I do this for you. Live well, help others, and remember, always think deeply about the consequences of your desires." With one last tearful goodbye, Amma stepped into the water, her body transforming as the mermaid's magic enveloped her. She turned back once, smiling reassuringly at her daughters, then joined the mermaids, diving into the depths of the lake. Kunto and Mansa watched, their hearts filled with love and sorrow as their mother disappeared. They knew they had been given a second chance because of her love, and they vowed to honor her sacrifice every day of their lives. This tale teaches us to think carefully about our choices, especially when we want something to happen quickly, because quick solutions can sometimes lead to big problems. It shows that keeping promises is very important, as breaking them can cause trouble. The story also highlights how being selfless and ready to give up something important for others is a beautiful act of love. It tells us that being brave and strong can help us overcome tough times. Lastly, this tale teaches us that kindness and forgiveness are powerful and can change even the strictest rules. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.